Good morning. Recently, I've been thinking about, can introverts be good at permaculture? When most people think of permaculture, they think of the ecological systems. It's about how we can work with nature to grow food in a sustainable fashion. But if you look at the permaculture books or do the permaculture course, you have to learn the 3 ethics. Those 3 ethics are earth care, people care, and fair share. Right from the start, people are a very important part of things. The ducks are hungry, so I'm going to go and get them some food, and I can tell you a bit more about it. This farm, it's obviously not just me doing it by myself. There's my partner and her family. But one of the goals I had from the start of this was to try and share what I was doing with other people in case we learnt anything and I could pass that on so we could learn together. So far, I've not been very good with it. So I decided I need to post a little bit more, and I went to Bangkok and got a little bit more equipment and a tripod to try and make things a little bit easier. Whilst I was in Bangkok, I had the chance to go and see a few movies. Saw a triple feature, a horror feature, Nosferatu, the Monkey, and Mickey 17. It wasn't something I intended, but it ended up being a triple feature about death. Lovely. Nosferatu was great. It was the most beautiful film by a mile. Mickey 17 was much more fun and more of a social commentary. And Monkey was just straight up black comedy and really entertaining. I'd recommend all 3. But I wanted to tell you about when I went to see Mickey 17, I saw it at the IMAX. When you book your cinema tickets, they've got the electronic screen and you can see the floor plan, so you can see where everyone else is sitting. I quite like to sit a little bit away from other people, have a bit of space either side. So I could see the IMAX was about 10% full and most of the people were clustered around the central aisle. I booked a seat about 5 seats to the right of that central aisle. I had a nice distance for myself. I booked my tickets, got some snacks and a drink, and went into the cinema. Took my seat and started watching the trailers. I see this guy comes walking in from the right-hand side and needs to go past me. So I've got all my bags, all shopping bags, to my right-hand side and the chair next to me. I move all the bags, move my knees, and he walks past. Problem averted. But then a few minutes later, a woman walks up from the same direction. When I booked the tickets, I could only see one other seat booked in that row, and it was the guy that just walked past. He was sitting on the central aisle. So who's this lady? Where's she come from? She walks up to the bags. The bags are already moved out of the way from the previous guy, but she stops. So I think, maybe I just need to make a little bit more room. I push the bags back a little bit further, but she still doesn't go past. And then she points to the seat where my bags are and says, that's her seat. It probably says more about me than her, but it took me a few seconds to realise that she actually wanted to sit right next to me. Really, who in their right mind, in a nearly empty cinema, would want to sit right next to a complete stranger? My first reaction was to get up and move to a different seat. But I held myself back for a second, realised I was overreacting, and decided to stay. Besides, I don't know what she's going through in her life. It probably wouldn't feel very nice if when you sat down, the person next to you just immediately got up and walked away. I was also very good. I decided not to manspread, so I took my arm off of the shared rest and allowed her to use it. After 5 minutes of her not using it, then I thought I'm allowed to put my arm back. But anyway, enjoyed the movie, and it just got me thinking about people. If I'm going to be making more videos and sharing them, then I might need to start being a little bit more friendly. Whilst I was there, I also got some books. This one is called The Barefoot Architect. We've got a project coming up soon where hopefully I'll be working with an organic farm stay in Ubon, and we're going to be looking at doing some natural buildings. I was looking for a little bit of inspiration. The permaculture we talked about already and how that relates to people. But what I wasn't expecting is that this, The Barefoot Architect, about natural building, the opening quote, making plans for 1 year, we plant rice. Making plans for 10 years, we plant trees. Make plans for 100 years, we prepare people. The universe is trying to slap me around the face that I need to be a bit nicer. So once the shopping and the movie marathon were complete, I headed back to the train station to come back here, which, by the way, if anyone is thinking of coming to this area of Isan in Sisaket, I highly recommend the train. It's not just the most sustainable way to get here, it's a great experience. You get your own private bed where you can enjoy one last meal of your holiday and maybe even one last movie. And you arrive 6 o'clock in the morning at a beautiful little train station out in the middle of the rice fields, just as golden hours beginning. So if you want to get some nice photos, it's just the best way to arrive. Let's go back to the original question. Can an introvert be any good at permaculture? The first thing I have to say is loads of the things that we've done here have depended on the knowledge of local people, and it's only by talking to people that we've been able to implement loads of these things in terms of the trees that we've planted, the animals that we've got. So I think it's only fair that I try and pass some of that knowledge along. You may have noticed by now, I can spend a lot of time in my own head. Making these videos isn't the easiest thing in the world, and I would like you to help me. If you could, please leave a comment below and ask me a question. There's a lot of things to see here. We've been doing it for 4 years. We have this natural building project coming up soon. I've been to Surin to see this method where they fill rice sacks with mud and use the rice sacks as building blocks. It means you end up with really thick mud walls that is great thermal insulation. So it stays much cooler in the house during the day, and you don't need things like aircon, or if you do, it'll run much more efficiently. So I want to share a little bit more, and it would be nice if you could help me along. I guess what I'm getting at is that if I do continue to make these videos and share the progress of what's not only happening here, but in other farms around us as well, and give you some tips of how you can travel around and see all of these things for yourself, then please let me know. Leave a comment or ask me a question. Maybe if you have some experience in permaculture, then you could give me some advice. Let me know some of the things that I could do here. Sometimes when I get stuck in my head, I just miss the thing, the obvious thing right in front of my face. So let me know, what would you like me to do? Anyway, I'll see you next time. What do you want? This video has also been an experiment on if I can film, edit and post a video in a single day, how I can use AI tools to speed up the process, and how to tell a story with a satisfying conclusion. So, can an introvert do permaculture? Yes. You might just need to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, get out of your own head, and pay more attention to those around you.